In a world where we are surrounded by screens everywhere, everywhere you look there's another screen. It's a breath of fresh air and refreshing to get your hands on something tactile, digital, but without a traditional screen that you can still enjoy as much as any video game. And this is where GiiKER have sat for the past few years, carving out their own little world, doing their own unique thing of taking old school retro games and ideas and putting a modern twist on them. With their latest modern retro toy, Super Reversi, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. GiiKER have been one of my favourite game and toy manufacturers over the past 3 years, bringing out some amazing and unique experiences that you can enjoy yourself or with your family and friends, bringing back that classic retro vibe of board games and co-op gaming as well. GiiKER have brought out some fantastic products, with one of my favourite being a 3D version of Connect 4, a game where you basically play on a flat board and you go about following the basic rules of Connect 4, but with the twist being that you can place your chips on top of each other to bring the game into the third dimension. And this unique twist doesn't just bring something modern to the game, it completely transforms it from a more simple game to an immensely tactical game. And it's one of my favourite GiiKER games to play with my family, especially as I continuously try to finally win over my wife. But more recently, GiiKER have been refining their design and styles over their toys and bringing us some amazing compact and pocket-friendly devices that you can play yourself on the go and with family and friends. We've seen the likes of Tic-Tac-Toe Bolt, a twist on Tic-Tac-Toe. We've seen the likes of Super Decoder, a twist on Mastermind, and the latest edition, the amazing Super Reversi. Now, traditional Reversi is a strategy game where you play on an 8x8 checkerboard, and the idea of the game is to cover as much of the board with only your colored chips. It's quite a simple game in its concept, but it can be quite in-depth, and playing it the traditional analog way can be a little bit tricky, because one of the core mechanics of the game is that each chip is black and white, and you have to turn over the chips based on each move. Knowing where you can place your chips and then knowing the resulting impact on all the chips around it can be a little bit more complicated than it can sound, and it is a game where you need to know exactly what you're doing, otherwise you could mess up the game a little bit. And this is where Super Reversi comes in and simplifies that idea, keeping the same core mechanics of the game, but letting you focus on the tactics, as opposed to making sure you've actually moved every single chip the way it's meant to be moved. The GiiKER Super Reversi comes in a compact, pocket-friendly, awesome little circle device. In the middle you have the screen, which is basically the 8x8 checkerboard, and my favourite part of it is the bezel on the outside, and it spins just like the bezel of a watch does. It's so tactile and satisfying as well. And as you can see, as you twist, it moves your chip to the different locations where you can put it. And this is what I was trying to say earlier in my description of Reversi. There's only certain places you can actually put your chip, and unless you know the game well, you might not realize where you can put the chip. But with Super Reversi, it lets you know there's only certain places you can put it, and it will only let you put them there. It simplifies the game a lot. When you know where you want to put your chip, you press the button, and as you can see, it flips over the corresponding alternative colors. These are the mechanics of the game, which when you're playing it manually, you have to know. And it's quite simple, obviously, when there's not a lot of checkers on the board. But you can imagine if the board is covered with checkers and you put your chip in a certain place, knowing exactly which one of the other corresponding colors to change, you could easily get it wrong. And this is where Super Reversi is absolutely amazing. I mean, I only intended to show you the game now, but I find myself actually just wanting to pause the video and carry on playing. Another thing I really like as well is the color around the top. As you can see, based on how many chips or how much of the board you've got, it's a bit like a pie chart. You can see this much of the board, if you imagine the whole circle as 100%, this much of the board is covered by my chips. And we can see if I put it somewhere now where I should take over a few more, the blue should increase as I take over the board and the white will decrease, and then when they take their move, it should change. And I just find this kind of feedback, this input is so satisfying. There we go, the blue grows, and let's see what happens with white next. They balance out a little bit. And it's just such an awesome, fun, nice device to have. And as you can see, it's quite thin. You could easily slip it in your pocket, take it around, no problem. Now, Reversi is never a game we've ever really played in our family before, but now Super Reversi is here. It's a game we absolutely love playing. And as with most GiiKER products, it doesn't just draw the line at simply playing the game. There's different modes that you can play through. You can play one-on-one with a real person, where each person takes a go. You can play against the CPU, where the CPU obviously is the alternative player, or you can play against scenarios, and there's different levels, and the game will put you in a different scenario to try to take over as many chips of the board. And it's like a level system progression where you take on each level as you come across. Now, it does say on the box that it is for 6+, but honestly, I've given it to my youngest, and she is just having a great time. It's surprising how quickly young minds can pick up games like these, and I think we can quite easily forget that with this modern world of screens and them being so used to certain types of devices. I think we can forget how some of these more cognitive games can be so easy and so refreshing for kids to pick up. Whenever I get a GiiKER device, I usually hand it to my kids just to let them have a go of it and for me to get some extra footage of somebody else playing it instead of just me. But before I know it, they've got the device and I can't take it off them. They love it so much. The coolest thing as well was the other day, me and my wife had been playing it quite a lot, and most of our games ended up where the whole board was covered. And I just always assumed that the way to win the game was once the whole board was filled, whoever had the most chips or covered the most area won. But the other day, my son was playing it and the board was only about half filled at most, and he won the game. And I said to him, "How did you do that?" And he said, "Well, the last move I did took out all the white chips, so I just won." Now, I'm not that familiar with the game, so I hadn't realized that was a way to play it, but I was also amazed that he was able to beat the computer so quickly, something I'm a little bit ashamed to say I thought was a bit more tough than it was I struggled with, so might have to up the level for him a little bit. Maybe not for me, but for him certainly. And this is what's amazing with these devices. It's given them to kids who might think that they just want to play Fortnite and Minecraft, might think like, "Oh no, I don't want to play that, that looks boring," or it's not, I can't get these skins and all that. And if you ask them, they'd probably say no. But when you just have the device and you just say, "Have a go with that," before they know it, they've been there for about 30 minutes playing this cognitive game that's getting their mind thinking in a different way. And this is why I absolutely love GiiKER. And Super Reversi is definitely up there with some of the best toys they've ever created. If you want to get your hands on one, links will be in the description below. But if you want to check out some of their other awesome modern retro gaming devices, then check out this video right here.